Yes, hello everyone, I'm joined by Andrew. This is the last word. Newcastle United have somehow managed to pick up 3 points. Tell me about Green King.
Green King?
Yes, please.
900 pubs in the UK, all bringing the live action to you this season, including Tuesday night's fixture. Me, myself, Sam, Carl, we're going to be there doing a live watch along of the game at AC Milan. And yeah, come join us.
If you're not there, tune in. There'll be live chat, loads of interaction. Of course, if you want to get the match stuff, obviously me, Harry and Johnny are out there, but make sure you go to one of the Green Kings. Come along, it's at the junction, just literally around the corner from here in the city centre. If you want a bit of atmosphere and you're on your own, come along. You never know, he might chip in and get you some pints. We'll go straight to the lineups. There's a bit of an eye raiser. One, the Joe Linton, we think, has got a knee injury, and he's in Barcelona apparently sorting that out, so that was a bit of a blow. But were you happy with the front three?
Yeah, I think it was good to experiment, especially after Brighton. I think Miggy's needed dropping, especially after the last game. And again, when he came on, there was one chance, and it just, if he had a right foot out, he'd be a worldie. I think he'd be one of the best right wingers in the world if he could play with his right foot, but he just can't. It stops so much momentum going forward. Meanwhile, Gordon, he's only going to get better and better under Eddie Howe. He's so good, and there's bits where I thought we looked a bit slow today, and Gordon changed the pace like that, and we're at them. So need more of that, and then I think just Harvey Barnes needs to settle in. I think those will be the wing and pairing going forward, and then it'll be down to whether Wilson and Isaac fight out for starting striker.
Yeah, great to see Elliot Anderson get a start. We didn't really have any options with Joe Linton out. Tonali not fully back at it. Obviously had a bit of an injury, and no doubt he'll probably start on Tuesday night. And obviously Willock, Joe Linton will touch upon, so there's a few there. But I do want to be negative because I like to get my negativity out the way. I've got Brighton on the brain. Brentford, what was their fan? They only sold out 2.5 banks.
Well, I was right next to them. They've probably bought a minibus, to be honest.
When I came down before, they only had 2 coaches.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably be a bit upset as well, losing Rico Henry, one of the best players.
That was a slip, by the way. I had a great eye on that.
So, yeah, just not much noise from them. I mean, you can't really expect much when they're in that corner.
Being too polite, I'll say it. Shit fans. Put it this way, you've got 5 banks, and it's a Saturday early night. You could have easily got up to London, and you've got 2.5 banks. That is crap support. This will be clipped up by them, and it'll probably come back and haunt me in 3 years, because this sort of stuff does. But yeah, how are you, man? How are you? Go and support your team, man. How are you? Another one, I want to talk about the referee. I've got to get this out of the way, because we'll come to the match, but Craig Pawson had an absolute stinker.
Again, he's just probably my least favourite referee, and I'd have to say at this point, and it's, you know, they're bad when you know them by name. The good ones, you tend to kind of just drift over, you don't pay attention to it, but when a referee's constantly dropping stinkers like that, and he always seems to be on the end of controversial decisions as well. I think he was City, Tottenham a couple of seasons back. There was clips, there was knocks, there was one where Bruno ended up getting carded after because he was just purely frustrated. He was being fouled.
I think Bruno deserved that yellow, that one. One.
He did. He's kicked out, but it should have been a foul. That shouldn't have happened.
There was a lot of niggles. I think there was a player on the ground. He stopped it when we were on the attack. Right at the very end, we clearly had a throw-in. Anthony Gordon, dissent. Callum Wilson, dissent. It's like, blimmin' hell, this lad is just trigger happy TV, card happy TV. Just awful refereeing discipline, and I didn't normally say that after a win, no. But he was pretty poor at the day. Let's hope he gets demoted. But we'll get on to the game. First half was stinking as well, mate, wasn't it?
Was obviously me being up in level 7, them shooting towards us that half, and then just nothing exciting.
A game of sensible soccer for the older fans.
Felt like I was playing like early doors for like Football Manager.
It's a bit you.
But just
and that was moving.
No, I think the only good takeaway from it was both Anderson and Gordon in that half looked decent. Harvey Barnes had a couple of chances where he was trying to come inside, but just I think there's sometimes where the look on that left hand side, you look to go and play back to a left back that's going to offer something to come inside as well. But when he turned around, when Dan Burn, great defensively, but coming forward, he's too gangly.
There's a bit of criticism on Twitter. I jumped on Twitter at half time, which I know you shouldn't do when things aren't going well. But he was getting a lot of stick, but it was just awful that first half. Really, Brentford only had the Pope save, which was very early on, where he kind of spatuled his arm out. But apart from that, I think we did handle Buemo and Vissa fairly quiet, because at the end of the day, we'll talk about the second half, but we kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, I think Brentford coming into this season were always going to be an interesting one, losing Tony, losing their main man, but it kept them relatively quiet. They didn't really do much, to be honest. I mean, when Buemo was on the floor for half the match, and Wissa looked good. I thought at times he's strong. He's bigger than I thought he was. I just thought he was like this little skinny thing, but he's actually like quite stocky. And he was giving Botman and Shaw a bit of stick, but apart from that, they dealt with him well, and it obviously shows by them not scoring.
Yeah, I think we did defensively handle him well, because there was a bit of criticism in particular for Fabian Schär at the Brighton game when he was just like kind of like sticking his leg out and it didn't look like he cared, and trust me, they do care. But second half, it was a slight tempo that went up a little bit, and we had, of course, the two main talking points were the two penalties. The first one, Anthony Gordon goes over the goalkeeper. Anthony Gordon, I think, is looking for it, I'm not going to lie, but it's contact, and you know what happens in this modern day. If you leave your leg out deliberately and the keeper touches you, the ball was going out of play, but referee VAR gives it. Right decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's smart football from Gordon. That's what you've got to do when you're in the box. If you've not got the opportunity to shoot, if the ball's going out like that and you see the keeper coming out recklessly, go for it. Like, it's going to go to VAR. It's got to. But I thought Pawson was quite delayed to kind of give it, and then obviously the VAR delay, and then Callum Wilson just finishing off on it.
Any worries about him?
Callum Wilson?
Aye, stepping up.
Cool as out. I mean, both our strikers in penalty situations. I mean, you saw the Isak one against Forest last season. Just Callum Wilson's so reliable from the spot. And I mean, if England were to get to the final of the Euros next year, then Callum Wilson gets a call up and it goes to penalties again. Harry Kane's obviously going to be your first taker, but you would want Callum Wilson to be behind him. He's just so good from that 12-yard spot.
Yeah, then as we'll talk about the referee, there's a couple of yellow cards coming left, right and centre, but it wasn't that long. We had the second penalty, was inside another 10 minutes later. I think it might even be shorter than that, and I didn't have a great view of it, even though I'm in the Gallagher, it was strangely enough, but you know, it looked like a penalty from the fans around me. They were all like, well, of course, they're going to do that, aren't they? They're screaming for a penalty, and then there was a long delay where there was just like players were standing around. Trippier was picking the ball up and Bruno was picking the ball up. Originally I thought it was Bruno that was going to take it, because he had the ball, and then he goes to obviously the VAR, the camera at the side, because he's already given it, and then obviously we don't have the beauty of seeing it back. Obviously you guys at home, by the time this video goes out, we would have already seen it, so we might change our mind here. But what do you make on that one?
Well, yeah, I mean, we nearly saw it back, and then they just brought the graphics up for Brentford substitutions, and just showed this like groan. Everyone was just like watching the screen, waiting for it to come up. So yeah, it's one we're gonna have to wait till I get back, watch match of the night, see what happened. I think, judging by the reaction from the Gallagher behind it at the time, you would have thought it was a penalty. Everyone was up shouting for it, but when do we ever get these decisions when they go for us, especially when it's handballs? We saw the one against Arsenal. It was very touch and go last season, and it's just the clear and obvious point. It's just came totally blurred now, hasn't it, really?
If we are totally wrong, we'll put it in comments and we'll pin it, because we haven't seen it back, as we say. But I couldn't say because someone got in front of me, not because I'm blind as a bat. I'm only literally 10 rows up. But there was only one change today,
yeah,
which was interesting. Is he thinking of Milan on Tuesday?
Milan on the mind, yeah. Surprised that it was Miggy that came on. I think he just wanted someone to kind of run at the defence, and there was nearly a point where he did, but then his touch let him down. But I think Isak will start, I think, definitely on Tuesday. I think that's why Wilson's played the full 90, and I think Isak will probably play that full 90 on Tuesday night.
Miggy will?
Yeah, I think he probably will. I think it'll be Miggy, Isak, and
Tonali?
It depends how Tonali is. I mean, he was warming up all game. He's obviously fit, and I think Sean Longstaff and Anderson really weren't putting a foot wrong. I think there was a couple instances where Sean's touch maybe let him down, but I think Tonali will come in. Like you mentioned, Joe Linton is probably going to be out again, so I think it'll probably be Sean will probably keep his spot, which will be interesting. Who will play down the left-hand side with Gordon? I think Gordon will start. I mean, he's ran, he's put his heart out the day, so I'd imagine he'll be knackered. But
loving the crowd, by the way, when he's coming over, and he was like, one of the players was arguing, was going to the crowd, the Gallagher going. He was doing that. He was doing all the phases. I think he's lapping the appreciation up in that Gallagher corner. I think he loves it really. But just before we hear from Eddie Howe, obviously Newcastle did grind out the win. Brentford they didn't do enough. They didn't test Pope enough for me, which is surprising because their front two, which we mentioned earlier in the video, have been on fire since Tony's been out, but didn't really test. There was a lot of long balls, a lot of free kicks and that. But Harvey Barnes, I felt he struggled in the first half, but I think as the game went on, I thought he grew into it a lot more.
Yeah, and he's only going to do that more with more game time. Really adapting to learn how to play with Dan Burn. He's a different kind of left back. He's not your kind of orthodox left back. You've kind of got to give him a touch and then be able to go. You can see there was times in the first half where he's giving it to Dan Burn. Dan Burn was kind of struggling to see where he was wanting him to put it, but I quite liked having the dynamic of him and Anderson. I think Anderson, because he's played left wing as a young'un as well, can quite easily switch with him. Kind of like that dynamic we've had last season with Joe Linton and Willock. And I think it's good to keep it because it keeps the right back guessing when you've got constantly swapping two players that are coming at them. I think Anderson looked like he's grown more confident taking on players. A couple of instances where he was putting balls across where probably should have had more players in the box. I think Barnes might make an appearance on Tuesday night, obviously because he's played in the Champions League as well. He knows what it's about.
He needs games and he needs to run a game, doesn't he? But Eddie Howe is just literally just up there. Well, let's hear what he's been saying about the win this evening.
I think there was a lot of relief in our emotions at the end. I think it wasn't a fantastic performance from us, but it was a gritty one. It was a determined one. It was one that wanted to show a response from especially the Brighton performance, and I think we've seen that. So clean sheet, a massive 3 points for us, and now we can look forward. It was a difficult team to pick because a lot of players have gone away on international duty, a lot of players have stayed, so the players that have stayed have trained really well, hence why they got the nod today. People like Harvey Barnes, Elliot Anderson, Sean Longstaff, they've all put in some really good work behind the scenes, and I thought they deserved their chance. I haven't talked about Milan at all. I don't think anyone from the coaching staff has, so it's all been about Brentford, and we know how difficult the game was going to be, so if anyone was half looking at Tuesday night, we were going to lose that game today. So really pleased with the focus. I think we know how important the Premier League is to us, and hopefully that's a good sign for the rest of the season.
You've been up there, haven't you? So Eddie's got a Green King pub, has he?
Huh?
Which one?
Green King Junction.
He's been at the Junction, then he's just been. What is it about eating Green Kings, man?
Is it Green King?
Just loves Green King. You would think we were sponsored by them, wouldn't you? Anyways, let's bring up the league table because it feels better that we've won. I think we're hovering around mid-table at the minute. You know, there was talk about, and I hate this, there was talk about Eddie Howe was under pressure. And this is not from Newcastle fans, by the way. This is coming from outsource inwards. What was your thoughts on that? Is he just shut them up, or is there still a few murmurs about?
No, I think he shut them up today. I mean, when you come back from international break, like I mentioned, it's always a bit touch and go. But he's just set the record straight there. I think we'll see on Tuesday night if we pick up a win against Milan, that'll shut down. I mean, especially with the run of games we've got coming up now. Yes, we've got City in the cup, but in the league we've got winnable games coming up. We've got past that hard start. I think this is really where our season begins.
It is, and I want to talk to you before we wrap up. Is that obviously with the Milan stuff? We'll do one or two videos in the build up to Milan and stuff like that. Of course we will. But you mentioned the games there. There's today. We expect changes on Tuesday. Sheffield United. You would think on paper you should get a result there, and then we're back at Manchester City for the League Cup. Back in the league. There's a game effectively every 2-3 days now. A lot of rotation now because Eddie Howe was talking about it early in the season. Players need to wait. Or we're going to see the likes of Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, maybe even to some extent even Jamal Lascelles.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think everyone's got a bit frustrated that we haven't seen Lewis Hall yet. But I think it's just because it's a completely different system from Chelsea's. They play five at the back. Lewis Hall at Chelsea was a centre mid. He only went to the left back because they ran out of options there. Livramento obviously spent a lot of last season out, but they've got to learn how to play, and obviously they're in training every day, but you only really know how to play in that system once you're playing it on an actual match day when you're not playing against other members of your team. So yeah, I think at Sheffield United maybe a bit more rotation than we saw today. They've had a bit of a struggle start, so I'd like to say I'm fairly confident about going down there, getting a result. Maybe see Livramento, obviously Trippier's on that other side of 30 now, so he's going to need resting, especially with another international break coming up as well. So it's rotation now, isn't it?
We've got the squad, we've got a better squad. He's talked about in his press conference as well. Just lastly, back onto Milan as well. The performance wasn't great today, but we picked up 3 points, which we all delighted about. All the Geordies again, yeah, I'm happy. But now Milan have been battered today by Inter 5-1, if you haven't seen that. They're going to be a wounded animal. They're going to want to come out and fighting and showing. Or it's going to go 2 ways, isn't it? The form will carry on. Is this a perfect time to play Milan right now after a Derby 5-1 battering, or is it like, just be careful, lads?
I think it is. I think the heads are going to be down. Obviously, their left side is what I've been worried about with Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao running a trip here, and he's still got that bit of pace, but he's not got.
Do you not think Miggy might be in there for that reason?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think Miggy will play quite deep, and it'll come from Gordon and Isak up top. Almost have playing as a kind of forward midfield. I would have thought. I don't think we'll see Miggy go forward much because Theo Hernandez is arguably the best left back in the world at the minute. So he's not going to do much against him, especially with how one-footed he is. So it's going to be an interesting battle.
Very intriguing. It's very intriguing.
But I don't know whether it's the optimist in us. I think we can do it. You know, the first game back. I know when Kevin Keegan, when we were back in it the first time, he told them, look, go draw your away games, win your ones at home. It'll be interesting to see what Eddie Howe tells them. It'll be interesting to see how we play. It'll be interesting to see if we go full Newcastle and play with a high press. But I think we'll do it. Lee.
Can't wait for Milan. Obviously, Johnny goes on Sunday. You might be watching this on Sunday. I don't go till Monday. I am actually going down Derby, believe it or not, to see the Lasses play once again. So I'll be heading down Derby, get you some coverage of that. We'll do 1 or 2 previews. Excuse me, I've just got to get rid of this cough. Whether you're staying well away from us. And obviously we'll do 1 or 2 previews. I think Johnny's going to try and do one whilst he's out there because he's got an extra day ahead. I arrive Monday, so I'll do some sort of travel vlog. And obviously Harry's leaving it very, very tight, isn't he? I was telling you off camera one now, leaving it very, very late on Tuesday. And of course, we've got the Green King watch along, which we've had a bit of a joke about as well. So as I say, if you're on doing anything, come along, sit in, have a bit of atmosphere. We'll be upstairs with the lads. Carl's be putting all the kit together, and obviously Andrew and Sam will be on camera. We'll try and bully Carl to get on camera once or twice if we can.
We need a producer, Carl Cam. I've said
this. We do. We need a producer, Carl Cam, as well. But anyways, from me and Andy, go back and see Johnny's match reaction. He's at a jot off. I want you to comment, why do you think he's left early? And if you get it right, we'll highlight it in the next video. Have a comment down below if you're still watching. Why has Johnny left early?
It's not a garden party.
It's not a garden party, aye. Right, see you everyone. Bye-bye.